Alright, just got back from my ride. I didn't go as far as I wanted to. 14.2 miles. It started dimming halfway on my controller. But, as you know, my turning meter's a no-go anymore. It's completely shattered. So, I'm kind of dreading it, but I'm going to put it back in the garage and, take it off and wire it without it. So, let's get to it. Oh, here's a good snapshot. Once it goes in the dark, the backlight still lights up, and you can just see that it's completely shattered. So it's coming out. Alright, so while I was waiting for my soldering iron to heat up so I can start fixing my connections and take this turning meter off of the bike, I took my Dremel and poked a hole through this rubber roof here so I could find out where my charging port was. And then I just snipped it out with my favorite little electrician scissors here. And, it's not perfect or pretty, but it'll let me plug in my port and keep this temporary cover in place. I might purchase a new one eventually, but you never know. So I got it temporarily opened up over here, and I'm gonna start taking apart all the connections. That epoxy I used is pretty darn strong. I can't get it off the finned part of the controller. I might have to do a little dremeling to it later, but I tore off the turning meter. Then I'm gonna reroute these positive and negative leads out of my controller that I'm going to bring down, connect to my battery down here. But as well as doing that, I mentioned earlier in the day that I have these Conian cells that I was thinking about building a 48 volt pack out of finally. So what I'm going to do is while I'm making these connections, I'm just going to run a 12 gauge set of wires out toward the back here, where I could either plug it into a battery backpack or maybe later put a rear rack on the back with them for extended range. And as you can see, my charging port down there charging away. Well, I'm gonna get started on doing that. You know what, after I get set up here to do my soldering, I decided against running the 12 gauge wires for my extended range pack. I didn't even build the pack yet, so I'm not worried about it. It's probably going to be at least a week or two out, so I can always just get back to this point fairly easy. Just take my tape off of my splice connections and just solder a little 12 gauge wire onto it, and it'll be easy enough to do later. So I'm just going to connect these normally the way I did before without my turning meter. Alright, and didn't take as long as I thought. Only took about 30 minutes to do it all, and got it all back together. As you can see, I still have the little hole there from before where I put my little red key now. But looks like now all I have to do is clean up that epoxy on top of the controller. And I guess I'm going to get to that while the bike's still charging back up. Alright, I just raised up my seat post a little since that was my first real ride since the bike's, able to be ridden without wires hitting me in the legs while I'm trying to pedal and everything. And did a little dremeling up here. Man, did that epoxy make a mess. There's shavings all over the place. Got it down to the fins, shaved in the fins a little bit. And I got it off the best I could. I'm probably going to end up, maybe even putting a sticker over this or something over this, but I still want it to be able to get the air, which it should get plenty, and it doesn't have any overheating issues anyway, since I'm not drawing 30 amps all the time, not continuous, just on spikes. But I think that's all I'm going to do today. Probably going to let this charge up and clean up in here a bit and probably go for another spin. See how it all holds together without the turning meter. That was a big disappointment. Until I save up for a cycle analyst, and this is what I'm stuck with. This is Scott with EBIKE signing out.